Yeah, g'day, Mark here, and welcome back to my channel. Now, I just got back from vacation and I'm trying to work on a project that's been kind of kicking my butt for a while. I need to make a set of grinder wheel hubs. They've been on my board here ever since I got my surface grinder, especially the trepanning and clearancing out, face turning, whatever you want to call the back of these things, caused me a fair bit of trouble. Now, when I left off last time, I tried trepanning or face grooving to clear out all the stuff in the back here, but I was having issues with getting the right tool geometry. Then I tried just spiral milling it out on my milling machine. Unfortunately, I didn't hold the part properly and scrapped that one. Now, as a few of you pointed out, this is really just quite a flat groove, and you can probably face turn it as long as you've got a tool that's got a fair bit of clearance. That was expressed very well from Peter at Edge Precision. I had been kind of thinking about that myself, but I guess it's time to get stuck in and give that a go. For this to work, I'm going to need both a left hand and right hand WCMT cutting tool. Now, I'll first work with the right hand toolpath, going from the inside out. So I'll have to go in at a bit of an angle down through here, and when it gets to that outside edge, I'm going to have to grind off a couple of millimeters on the bottom edge down here. Whereas to take off the ramps that get left, the left hand tool will work fine in the middle. I'm just going to hit through here. What other options do I have? Okay, well, I went through my tooling drawer. I found this nice little carbide shanked boring bar. It's a left hand cutting one. So that'll work perfectly. I can get both what's left over here and also what gets left in the slot. So I just need to modify this tool in the grinder and mount them both. I'm still going to need to play around with how I mount the scoop for the dust extraction, because it's, yeah, maybe some magnets, although I'm kind of unsure whether it's a good idea to have magnets under a metal tool grinder. Right, well, here's the resulting grind. I've offered it up to the part and it looks like it's got clearance. So we'll give it a test cut and see how it works. I've got an issue here, and I think it's in the Gmoccapi GUI. You can see that it's currently showing the tool in that kind of sticking straight in orientation. This tool should be an orientation 3. I need to set the angles for that tool, but if I set 300, it doesn't take it. In fact, I can't change any of these numbers. I can put in a number, but as soon as I tab or return out of that field, the number's gone. So that's kind of annoying. Anyone got any ideas why that is? So that's a bit weird. Look at this. When I open the program, it automatically backplots in white, but then when I ran the program, it's scaled by half. So I must have a radius to diameter mode issue here. Now, I always run my lathe in the G7 diameter mode, but I find it strange that it's backplotting that program in radius mode. So let's take a look. Okay, I'm not telling it G8, but I'm also not commanding the G7. So let's see what happens if I tell it G7 diameter mode program. Ah, that's good. Yeah, look. Now it backplots correctly. The next tool is that little left-hand carbide shank boring tool. You know, it's at this point that I really think that I've got the whole variator spindle control working well enough that I'm not going to change much about it. I think I'll probably just tweak my post-processor of my cam software to ensure that it gives the correct pauses to allow the gear changing to take place. And with that, I'm also going to say that the actual Linux CNC conversion is now finished. I kept this on the board for a long time because I still wanted to get that spindle under full CNC control. But now that I've done that, I guess I'm going to need a solvent that's been on there so long it's burnt itself into my board. But I'm calling that finished. Sure sounded like an insert breaking. Yep, looks like the tip's fallen off it. Okay, I suspect that I broke off that tip because I'd already turned this feature to 84 millimeters diameter, but then I came surfacing out from the inside here and went into that corner. Now, if there's only a very slight difference in clearance there, you're going to get very big engagement along here, along that whole 6 or 7 millimeters deep. So I think I put a big load on there while still cutting on the tip. So to fix that, what I'm now going to do is, after the tool change, come in and just plunge along this edge at 84 millimeters, which should just clean up that edge to whatever this tool thinks is 84 millimeters if I didn't get my tool offsets absolutely perfect. So that should take the load off the side of the tool when it gets to the end of the cut. Right, well, let's see if just cleaning up that edge first protects that enough that we can get the job done. I found it quite challenging to get the right feeds and speeds to have the inserts chipping. It was only after 4 or 5 parts that I finally found some halfway decent settings, and even then they still needed a fair bit of babysitting. At the moment, I don't have the tools in the order I use them because I go for the 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just switch that around. Tool number 2 needs to go over here in that position. Right, that means that tool 12 is no longer in pocket 2, it's now in pocket 4. Third tool is not this one. So tool 23 is now in pocket number 2, and tool 25. Tool 25 is now pocket number 1. Okay, that should save a bit of time with the tool changes. Alright, last one. Tool 22, boring tool, TCMT is correct. It's so it thinks it's at 12 millimeters, but it's out at like 80. G43. So why on earth did the offset change? I'd made no change in the offsets. Well, at least no. I did recheck the Z offset with the new workpiece, but I didn't do anything with the X offset. 22. Oh yeah, it's now showing 28 millimeters of offset. Before it was showing like 8. When I touched off the work, is it possible that I touched off the X value instead of the Y value? Normally, I try and have my machining finished by lunchtime on a Saturday at the latest so that I can start my edit. It's now, must be nearly 7 o'clock in the evening. I was really pushing to try and get all of these finished because I am so sick of them. But made a mistake on the last one, so I'll have to revisit that. All in all, I think I now do have a set of toolpaths that give a pretty decent result. surprisingly difficult to do with that little dovetail groove in there, and also that sort of flat facing cut that has to go in reasonably deep. But all in all, I think I'm now nearly finished with operation 2. So hopefully I can then switch them over, make up an arbor to mount them off the taper, and finish doing all the outside machining. But that'll have to be another day. Because I finished so late today, there's a few things that may happen. One, I may not get this video finished in time for my normal lunchtime on Sunday upload. Or it may just be a short and crappy video. You let me know what you think I did. I'll see you next time.